Hello guys, thanks for joining this session. In this session, we are going to create an EC2 instance and make that EC2 instance as a web server. And in that web server, we will host an HTML file and then we will access it with the public IP. So let's jump into the AWS Management Console. So we are into the AWS Management Console. So let's first discuss about what are the steps which we are going to take in this exercise. So in the first step, we will create an EC2 instance. And once EC2 instance is being created, then we will log into that instance with the help of PuTTY. As I am using Windows machine, that's the reason I am using PuTTY. If you are using Linux machine, then you can use directly SSH connection to access the EC2 instance. And once we access the EC2 instance, then we will install Apache server within the EC2 instance. To install Apache server, we will execute some command, and once it is being done, we will create an HTML file, and that HTML file will display the metadata information of EC2 instance. So let's execute the steps which we have discussed now. So first we will go to the compute section and select the EC2 instance, and we will create an EC2 instance over here. So now we are into EC2 dashboard. We will click on launch instance, and here you can select the free tier only, and we are going to use the first one. Click select, and here we will select the default option. Next we will click on configure instance details. Here we will leave the default configuration, and then we will click on next add storage. So once it is being done, again click on next add tag. We will add some tag as we are going to create a web server. So name it as a web server. And if you want to give another tag, you can give it another tag. Environment name already been created. Environment. Click on next configure security group. Here we will create a new security group. So provide a name demo EC2 as web server and give the description as well. So we have given the same name as description. So this security group already has SSH. We can choose either my IP, or I'm going to stay with anywhere so that it will be accessible from any of the IPs. Now we will add another rule for port 80 so that HTTP request will come and we can access it. Again we are going to keep it as anywhere. So we have inserted both the protocol. SSH was already existing. We have inserted HTTP. Why? Because we are hosting it as a web server, and to access the HTML we need HTTP protocol. Now click on review and launch. So it is giving us the warning that it is open to the world. That is fine, we know it. Just click on launch, and here we are going to create a new key pair. Give it a name which we have used earlier, demo EC2 as web server. Download the key pair. So we will save it. Now we need to click on launch instances. So it is launching the instance. So just go into the EC2 dashboard. So it is still creating. So now it has created the EC2 instance. Now we will go into PuTTY software and connect this EC2 instance. So let me open the PuTTY application. But prior to that, we need to generate the PPK key using the PEM file which we have downloaded. These steps which I have already mentioned in one of our earlier session. So if you have any doubt, you can refer those. So we have opened the PuTTY key generator. Now load the key. So to load the key, we need to grab that PEM file. So here is the PEM file. Select it, open, done. Now we need to save it as a private key so that our PuTTY can recognize it as a PPK. So we can give it the name again, demo EC2 as web server. Save it. So it is being saved. Now close it. So now we will open the PuTTY application and connect the EC2 instance. So now we open the PuTTY application. So here we need to write EC2-user add, and we need to grab the IP, public IP. So grab it from here, paste it, and add SSH connection. We need to go to auth and browse the key which we have just generated for this. So this is the key which we have generated. Open it. So it open. Now we will go back session, and here we will give it a name. So just give it a name with the machine and save it. Now we will open it and look into that whether it is connecting to EC2 instance or not. Yes, it connected. So it is connected now. So what we need to do, we need to type sudo let me make it full size screen. So now we are into full mode. So what we need to do, we need to install the HTTPD server for Apache. So to do that, first we need to run the update so that we have all the thing up to date. Update -y and enter. So it updated. So it is done now. Now we need to clear it. So after that we need to install the HTTPD application, that is Apache server. Yum install HTTPD -y, enter. So it is installing Apache D HTTPD software. So now we have installed Apache server. So here I wanted to let you know something very interesting and important. When we are working with AWS management console, so it is very easy to get the information about EC2 instance. How we go into the AWS management console and whatever the information, the meta information we want to grab for this EC2 instance, we will come over here and we will grab it. But suppose we want to grab this meta information from EC2 console, so how do we can grab this information? So to grab this information from the EC2 instance, AWS has provided an URL to access the metadata information. So let's do it now. So let's first clear it. Now, so to access the metadata information, we will be using curl http 169.254.169.254/latest/metadata. Click enter. So it will give us these metadata information when we access it. For example, if we want to access the instance ID, then what we need to do, we need to use the same URL and put instance ID over there, and then we will echo it. How to do that? Put a semicolon and echo, enter. So it has returned the instance ID. So what we are going to do, we are going to print this instance ID in one of the HTML. We will create an HTML which will display this ID into that HTML, and we will access that HTML. So this is the thing which we will do it now. So now clear it. So now what we need to do, we need to put it into HTML folder of Apache. So to do that, we need to write curl http. Again, I will use the earlier one which we have used it, and here what we need to do, pass it to the HTML. We will create an HTML, and the address where we need to put this HTML is that where www/html/index.html. So this file it will create at this location HTML. Now enter. So it has created the file called index.html at that location where www.html. Now verify that whether our EC2 instance working as a web server. So how do we can verify it? We can go back to the AWS console and grab the public IP and open that public IP into a browser. So we are into AWS management console. So we will grab the IP. We have grabbed the IP. Now we will put it into the browser, and here we will access it. So now we try to access it. Once you click on it, so it is not reachable. Why? Because we haven't started the server, Apache server. We need to start it. So how to do that? We need to again go back to the EC2 console and start the server. To do that, we need to write service httpd start. Now we need to go back to the browser and try to access the web page again. So let's do it. So we are here now. Now again try to access it. Yes, see here we got the instance ID. So this is what I wanted to demonstrate you. But prior to closing this session, I wanted to tell you that in the next session we are going to learn about bootstrapping process. So how to bootstrap our EC2 instance at the time of creation of EC2 instance. So that means, suppose that if I want to create a web servers at the time of creation of EC2 instance, so what are the steps required to do that? Because as you see that here it has so many steps required to make an EC2 instance as a web server. And suppose that if we require more than 20 web servers, so that means we need to create an EC2 instance and go one by one in each machine and do the installation of Apache server. So this is really drudgery task. To ease this thing, what we will do, we will create a bootstrapping which we will place at the time of creation of EC2 instance. So that's it guys, this is for this session. See you in the next session. Till then, bye bye, take care.